Solomon, and today I'm going to talk about and teach you guys how to understand your big three in your astrological chart. Have you ever been asked, hey, what's your sign? Or what are your big three? And been confused? I've been there. When I was a freshman, I didn't understand any of this astrology thing, anything astrology related. I was so confused. So I went to an app called CoStar, and they kind of taught me a few things, and now I'm going to pass that information on to you. When you talk about a astrological chart or your big three, you always start off with the sun. The sun is determined based on your birthday. That's all the information you need, and that can be, once you have that birthday, that is placed within 12 different houses, or we call them signs. And those signs translate to a different sun phase that was occurring when you were born. And then that sun sign basically reflects who you are as a person at the core of everything that you do. Who are you? And that's who people see as you're at work, when you're home, when you're just with your friends. That's who you are. And then you go into kind of a deeper phase, which is our moon. And the moon is basically, it's determined based on the moon phase. So it lands in one of the houses, just like the sun phase. And it's a little bit different because you're not always the same as who you are in public with everyone around you versus who you are personally. And the moon talks about who you are when you're alone. It talks about your emotions. It controls your moods, your feelings, and things like that. Personally, I'm a Taurus, so the Taurus moon, you're very sentimental, you're emotional, you take security and you take security in your relationships and your friendships very seriously, and those are all things that speak to me, and that's who I am as a moon. And I'm a double Taurus, so my moon and my sun are Taurus. But since it's a pseudoscience, it all is kind of, it's not a set science. So when you move into the rising is determined based on what time you're born. So you need, for the rising and the moon, you need the time, location, and date of where you're born and things like that. And you put it into an app like CoStar or a website, and you're able to determine and receive your whole chart. And for the rising, if you're born before or after dawn, you're most likely going to be the same exact sign in your rising as you are in your sun. And if you're born before or after sunset, you're most likely to be the opposite sign of your rising sign. Your rising sign will be the opposite of your sun sign. And the rising sign basically is kind of what other people see when they meet you. Strangers, and it's kind of the mask you put on before you really truly let people get to know you. So personally, I have a Gemini rising, so that means I come off as very chatty, witty. I come off as humorous, and like I always want to be around people. And that's kind of what I want to give off, because personally I like to make sure that people feel welcome. So that Gemini rising kind of is part of who I am, and when I meet people, when I meet new people, I pull them in, and I want them to feel comfortable around me. So that comes from my Gemini. But like I said, it's a pseudoscience. So a Gemini is not the opposite of Taurus sun. So either my chart could be wrong based on what information my mom gave me. So I personally will probably go back and double check after this presentation. And I would always go back and check, just because you never know. Sometimes people read the birth chart wrong. So in conclusion here, your sun is going to be who you are no matter who's around you. Your moon is who you are when you're alone. It's who you see yourself as. It's what you see yourself as. And the rising is your mask. It's what other people see you as when they first meet you. It's what strangers think of you as. And that kind of will break it down and show you how to read your sign. Now, the next step for you guys is download the CoStar app. I know it may seem a little crazy, but it explains a lot, and it'll give you some good advice, whether or not you think it's real science or not. It's pseudoscience. It's up in the air. But there's always chances and openings for learning new things about yourself, and this is a chance to learn something new about yourself. I hope you guys download that app and enjoy your results.